What's good, guys? CJ here, and welcome back to another Stalcraft X video. In today's video, we're going to talk about the best weapons to build as you progress through the game. I'm going to give you a full guide on the best snipers, assault rifles, shotguns, handguns, and more. So if you want to stay up to date with all kinds of Stalcraft X content, do be sure to hit that like button, subscribe, turn on bell notifications, and join our Discord. For now, let's hop right in. Alright, we're going to kick things off talking about one of my favorite assault rifles in the tier, that being the FN 2000 Tactical. This is one of the first ever master guns that I crafted, and I gotta tell you, this gun is extremely comfortable, and if you're someone that's looking for a gun that's easy to control and that basically feels like a laser beam when it shoots, this is the gun for you. Its main selling point is its incredible rate of fire of 850 shots per minute, its easy to control recoil, and the fact that it's really good at medium to long ranges. This gun is an absolute laser beam. Now, there are several things I want to point out. First off, its magazine capacity is relatively low, even though you can increase it quite easily, so that's a plus. And another thing that I want to point out is the fact that up close and personal, it does not shine as much as other weapons simply because of its damage output. As you can see, the damage is quite low compared to some of the other ARs in the category that are better for up close and personal encounters. Nonetheless, because of that fire rate, you will still be able to deal some pretty good damage up close, but it will get outclassed by other ARs. This one is more so for those medium to long range encounters where you're going to be able to beam down your opponents without any problem whatsoever. Overall, the FN Tactical's main selling point, like I was telling you guys, is the fact it's extremely easy to control, it shoots quite fast, and it's the perfect weapon for mid to long range encounters. We have the A545, and this assault rifle is one of the best assault rifles in the game without a shadow of a doubt. It is an absolute beast at up close and medium range, dealing insane damage and having insane rate of fire. Its normal magazine capacity is 30 rounds, but you can increase it if you get a magazine extension. And overall, this thing is an absolute beast. Recently, it got buffed once again, and it stands as currently being one of the best assault rifles in the game. You can go ahead and get a bunch of really good attachments for it, making it even better. And overall, this gun is one of the best and most comfortable weapons. Once again, if you enjoy that up close, medium range combat, if you're looking for further distance when it comes to your engagement, you might want to look for other guns, but nonetheless, this will still do insane damage at longer ranges, but it truly shines at up close and medium range. And overall, it's an insane weapon. Having 900 shots per minute as its rate of fire makes this thing an absolute machine when it comes to dealing damage. And now let's move on to the next one. Now let's talk another really good up close to mid range AR, and that is none other than the AMB 17. Now, this gun right here is pretty damn good, having really nice damage output as well as pretty good rate of fire. Overall, this gun is very, very nice when it comes to up close and mid range combat, and it does have a pretty decent ability to fight at long ranges, but it does stand out mostly when it comes to up close and mid range. Now, one thing this gun does lack is its magazine capacity, only having room for 12 bullets. Now, you can make this bigger with a better magazine extension, but nonetheless, this gun is overall pretty damn good if you're liking its style and if you want something that hits specifically the way this does with its recoil and all that good stuff. This might be the gun for you. But once again, if you're looking for something to stand out in mid to long range combat, this might not be the gun for you, as it does stand out to be much better at up close and mid range combat. Now let's talk about one of the best and hardest hitting ARs in the game, and that is none other than the AK-15. Ladies and gentlemen, this gun is an absolute monster, currently boasting one of the highest, if not the highest, damage output in the entire game when it comes to ARs. And don't let its lower rate of fire dissuade you from getting this gun. It currently has 600 shots per minute as its rate of fire, but its damage more than makes up for it. This gun is insane at mid range to longer range combat, but it also does pretty damn good up close. Maybe not as good as other weapons, but it's still gonna melt people regardless of the range, simply because its damage is so freaking high. This is without a shadow of a doubt one of the best weapons if you're looking for something that is going to hit really damn hard. If you're able to land your shots, this thing will melt most people relatively quickly. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the best ARs currently in the game. Now let's talk about the Ash 12, and this gun is pretty damn good, boasting one of the highest damage percentages in the game. If you're someone that likes to fight at middle to long ranges, this gun without a shadow of a doubt is really damn good for you. Now, this gun does fall off in up close ranges because it does have a relatively low rate of fire compared to some of the other ARs I've been talking about. Nonetheless, its high damage more than makes up for it. The niche of players that usually likes to go with this weapon is once again people that likes to keep their distance. Now, one thing I do want to point out is the fact that its magazine capacity is relatively low. So if you're someone that's still getting used to shooting in Stalcraft, or you're someone that has a hard time landing them headshots, you might not want to go for this weapon. But if you're someone that's a sure shot, someone that is always landing those headshots, this gun is going to melt anybody that it has across its sights. Without a shadow of a doubt, one of the better weapons to fight in mid to long range combat, and overall a pretty damn good assault rifle. When it comes to SMGs, there's not a lot of options, but without a shadow of a doubt, the most popular option out there is the TDI Chris Vector. This thing is an absolute bullet hose. If you're up in your opponent's face, you'll melt them down before they even have time to react. Not only does it have pretty decent damage, but 900 shots per minute make this thing an absolute machine. Now, I do want to say, if you're someone that likes running up on your enemy, pretty much being face to face within kissing range, this thing right here will blast them away. But if you're a mid to long range player, this will not do anything for you. You will hardly land your shots, and when you do land them, it'll feel like you're hitting your opponents with a BB gun. But once again, if you're an up close and personal type of fighter, this is the SMG for you. Up next, we have the PPK-20, and very much like the Vector, this is a gun that you're going to want to use if you're up in your opponent's face. All SMGs pretty much work the same. The only big difference when it comes to this weapon and the Vector is the fact that this one has a little bit of a slower fire rate, as well as a little bit more damage. So they're pretty much the same, but they do work just a tiny bit different. If you want something that fires a lot faster, you're going to want to go for the Vector. And if you want something that does a little bit more damage but shoots a bit slower, you're going to want to go for the PPK. Now, in reality, you won't really notice the big difference when it comes to these weapons. It's more so about the looks, the handling, and what you particularly find the best. Overall, they both work the same. You're going to want to be up in your opponent's face, blasting them down, and when it comes to long range, they're pretty much BB guns. When it comes to snipers, the game has a very specific sweet spot and playstyle that you're going to want to use for your snipers. Seeing as the TTK is so quick in this game, you want to make sure that you're not trading blows with your opponents, especially if they're using one of the end game ARs. You want to make sure you land a hit or two and switch locations. With that being said, one of the highest damage dealing snipers in the game and one of the best current snipers in the game is the VSSK. This is without a shadow of a doubt one of the best snipers. It pretty much has infinite range for what we currently have as render distance in the game. It has insane freaking damage. It reloads relatively quickly, and its magazine capacity is 6. This is overall the weapon you want to build if you're going to be sniping. Now, there are other options out there, but if this is the type of thing you want to do, just ding an enemy once or twice, switch locations, finish the mob, provide backup fire for your teammates, or simply land a couple of headshots on unsuspecting enemies, this is without a shadow of a doubt the sniper for you. Now, if you're still trying to snipe some heads off, but you're not a fan of the bolties, we have something else for you. The SVDM. This thing right here is pretty damn good, and while its damage is a lot lower than the previous snipers we talked about, its rate of fire is a lot faster, and its magazine capacity is actually bigger, and you can also increase it, giving you even more shots. Overall, this sniper right here is pretty damn good, and it's going to allow you to get a lot of shots off before you actually have to move. Its rate of fire is pretty damn good, and even though you still don't want to trade shots with your opponent if they're using a top of the line assault rifle, this will allow you to get in a couple of hits before having to rotate position. Overall, if you're not a fan of the bolties but you're still trying to be a sniper, this might be the gun for you. If we're going to talk about snipers, we can't forget about the king of the bolties, the L96A1. This thing is an absolute monster, currently holding one of the highest damage per bullet in the entire sniper roster. With 168.2 units of damage, this thing is no joke whatsoever. It does have a smaller magazine capacity of 5, and a slower fire rate of 40 shots per minute. Nonetheless, this thing hits like an absolute truck. It has insane stopping power and bleeding. And overall, this thing is an absolute unit. And if you do like snipers, if you like to post up and ding your opponent's head with a really heavy shot, this might be the sniper for you. Now let's talk about the LMGs. And for that, we have the only craftable option being the PKP. This machine gun right here is pretty damn good. Not only does it have pretty decent damage at 49 units, but it also has really decent rate of fire considering its magazine capacity. That being 650 shots per minute. Its magazine capacity has 100 rounds, so you can just blast people away with this freaking gun right here. And it overheats after 150 rounds, so you can pretty much go off with your entire magazine. Overall, this thing right here is mainly used to mow down your enemies. It's going to lose accuracy at long range, even though you can go prone and get a little bit more of an accuracy boost, and it's going to allow you to hit those shots. But what you really want to do is mow down your opponents with this freaking beast of a gun. Overall, it doesn't see as much usage as assault rifles because of everything it has to offer and it being a little bit more clunkier when it comes to its usage, but it's still a really, really good gun. And if you're looking for a gun that's going to help you clear out NPC dens, this is definitely the gun for you. Now, when it comes to the shotguns, we have the Protecta. And overall, this is the best in-slot shotgun that we can craft in the game as of the making of this video. And overall, this is pretty damn good. When it comes to shotguns, you pretty much use them to clear dens and to fight mutants, and this gun is perfect for that job. Not only does it have its really nice damage modifiers, but it does have a 190 units of damage. It does have 12 rounds in its magazine, and overall the rate of fire is pretty damn good as well with 110 shots per minute. This is everything you need to clear mutant dens, and this is one of the first things you're going to want to craft as you're progressing through the game so you can take your farming to the next level. Overall, pretty much a really good shotgun and something you want to get your hands on as quick as possible. Now let's talk about the pistols or handguns. And overall, we do have quite a bit of options when it comes to crafting some of these, but in all reality, they're not really usable. Most people will not find themselves using a handgun simply because the time to kill is so short in this game that if you go off and pull out your handgun, you're just going to get blasted by a primary regardless of the primary. There are many handguns you can go ahead and craft depending on how you like to play, but in all reality, there's only one that truly stands out, and that is none other than the RSH-12. This is pretty much a pocket sniper. That's as best as I can explain this gun right here. You're going to have a little sniper in your pocket. You're going to be doing insane amounts of damage, as you can see right here, by its 156 units of damage. It does have a pretty nice fire rate, and it does have 5 rounds in its magazine. But that's really all that it offers. If you're looking for a handgun that you could use to take on some, NPCs, you can go ahead and craft whatever you want. But this is the only true endgame viable hand cannon in the moment right now. All right, and that pretty much wraps up the video. I do hope you've enjoyed it. If you did, you guys already know what to do. Hit that like button, drop a comment, hit that subscribe button, and turn on bell notifications. I will be dropping tons of videos for this game, as well as doing giveaways live on Twitch at SkullCJ/Twitch TV. So do be sure to hop on in, come hang out, and feel free to chat it up with your boy. For now, have a great day, and I'll see you on the next one. Peace.